Oh, Frozen. With the exception of a couple DeviantArt posts, I largely left you alone for the past 8 years. But my silence ends today. Hold up. 8 years? 8 years? Seriously? What the heck? Why is time moving so fast? This movie seriously came out almost a decade ago? That's insane. Almost as insane as the hype behind this movie. Anywho, Disney came out with Frozen in 2013, which was their adaptation of Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tale, The Snow Queen. And it's no exaggeration to say that it took the world by storm. And when that storm settled, it left 3 factions in the world: those who adore it, those who hate it, and the 3% of people who don't care either way. What side are you on? Hello everyone, my name's Ayla Bell, and today we're going to discuss Frozen as well as explore a different angle that this story could have gone. So sit back, relax, and hold on to your snowflakes. Let's chat. So, on a previous video, I asked all of you lovely people to leave a comment telling me any thoughts and opinions you had about Frozen. I thought it'd be fun to interact with you guys this way, so I'm hoping this will turn out okay. If it does, then I'll totally do this again. So, without further ado, CB commented, "Well, I'm not a fan of Frozen, or most Disney movies, mainly because of the fact of what they did to Star Wars and the new fact that they are canceling the Owl House, and I barely remember anything from that movie, but that is just my opinion. It's okay that people love it, but again, Disney is not on good terms with me. I'll look forward to more discussions in the future." Well, thank you, CB, for being my first person to comment, I think. I don't know if you're the first person, but I appreciate you. Anyway, not a fan of Frozen. You know what? I agree with you there. I am also not a fan of Frozen. I will have a formal review after I'm done with these comments, but generally, yes, I agree. I'm not a fan of Frozen. Not exactly for the reasons that you have, I don't think, but I respect your view on this, on why you and Disney aren't on good terms and stuff. I definitely understand. Disney has been on a decline for a while now in quality. That's my opinion, especially where like ideas go. You can look at all the live action remakes. But yeah, I agree with you. Not a fan, so we're part of the not a fan faction. So yeah. Next person, DJ Superstar 108. Frozen is a good adaptation of the fairy tale The Ice Queen. I'm not sure what IICR means, so I'm gonna skip on over that. The animation is great, the plot is nice, I like the characters. Overall, a good Disney film in my opinion. The Let It Go song is the best song in the movie. There are probably better Disney films out there, but I rarely watch Disney films, so I have less films to compare it to. I have watched the sequel and think it's better. I still think the original is a good movie. Well, DJ Superstar, I also appreciate you for commenting, but I'm gonna imagine that based on my our last friend that I commented on, okay, I'm just gonna put it bluntly, I disagree. I personally don't think it's a good adaptation of the Snow Queen, but you know, that's my opinion. My opinion is that they could have gotten closer to the original fairy tale, but I know Disney likes to Disney-fy things, and very rarely, if ever, does Disney stick 100% to the original. I kind of wish they did a little more faithfully for some of their things, but I agree with you that the animation is great. The animation is really, really, really good for Frozen. The plot is okay. I think Frozen is a good movie. I know that's contradictory to what I said earlier about me not liking it, but they are not different. I can think something is good and not like it. I will explain that later in my review. The plot is nice. I like the characters. The characters are fine. Maybe we'll get into that. I think the characters that should have been focused on were a bit wasted. Like Elsa should have had more of a focus in the first movie, I personally think. I know we're adapting the Snow Queen, and the Snow Queen doesn't get that much focus, so it makes sense that Elsa wouldn't get that much focus, but it's a personal gripe, which actually goes against what I just said about me wanting it to stick closer to the original. I am apparently a walking contradictory. Wait, that's not the right word. A walking contradiction. There you go. Anyway, I don't know if you've ever seen The Lion King, because you said you rarely watch Disney films, but if I had one to recommend, it is The Lion King. Like 1000%. It is my favorite movie and the best movie out there in my opinion. So you should totally check it out if you haven't. And if you have, check it out again, I guess. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. Miraculous Lou. In my opinion, Frozen isn't the best movie. There are a few things I think could make it better, but the overall plot and characters are good and I like them. I agree with you wholeheartedly that Frozen is not the best movie. It's really not. There are things that could have made it better, absolutely. And I agree, the overall plot and characters are good. Just good. Good getting close to okay. Like, between okay and good, depends on how I'm feeling. But yes, it's a good movie. I'm glad you like it. Keep liking it. Much power to you. Next comment. PYW. Oh, also, Miraculous Lou, thank you so much for commenting. I appreciate you. So yes, next comment, PYW, or PW? I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't want to. I'm just gonna let you guys know that there's a chance that I might botch these names. So, just giving you the heads up on that. Anyway, I truly believe that the trolls were the true villains. I think when the prince tried to go after Elsa, the trolls cursed him to suddenly want to be evil and gain the throne, because his plan makes no sense and feels really rushed. The trolls literally proved that they can alter memories. They could have easily have altered all his memories and made him evil. Also remember how they really wanted Anna and Kristoff to be a couple, and the prince, forgot his name, was in their way. You know what? That actually would have been pretty cool. It actually would have been slightly closer to the original story, because in the original story, the trolls were not good. I wouldn't say they're the main antagonist, but they are the driving force as to why the conflict in the story happened in the first place. So, don't know why Disney decided to make them good. It really doesn't make any sense. Maybe they weren't initially good, just like how Elsa wasn't originally good, but something happened in there. But I like your plan. Your plan sounds cool. They should hire you. Thank you so much for commenting. Alright, now for the next comment. And our next commenter here is Glue Mike. Thoughts on Frozen. I watched it a long time ago, so I don't remember much. I like the songs though. I think it's alright, but I still like the other Disney princesses more than Elsa. I think she's plain. Well, Glue Mike, you're right. Frozen is alright. That's what it is. It is an alright movie. It is entertaining and it is alright. It's really okay that you don't remember much. It's fine. And you're right, at least, sorry, I agree with you rather, is my opinion that there are better Disney princesses out there. Namely Tiana, Rapunzel, Belle, Cinderella, most of them. No, wait, hold on. I'm gonna backtrack on that a second. I think Elsa is interesting. The problem is, the movie didn't focus on her. Of the two sisters, she is more entertaining. Well, no, scratch that. Of the two sisters, she is the more interesting because of her drama and trauma and everything that she's had to go through. She's the sister we should have followed. And it's good that Frozen 2 focused on her, but we really need that for Frozen 1, because Anna's just like Rapunzel 2.0, and that really bothered me when I first saw the first Frozen. But yeah, I think the problem is less that Elsa isn't exciting and more that the movie didn't care as much about her as it should have, which makes sense given its development. But anyway, thank you, Glue Mike, for commenting. I appreciate you. On to the next comment. This one's a doozy. Alright, let's see. Alright, this one is from, and I know it doesn't say that on screen, but I asked, and her name is Elia. So, commented some stuff regarding my last video, so I'm just gonna skip on over to the actual Frozen stuff. Not that the other stuff isn't interesting, this is just a Frozen video, but I did reply to the comments regarding the non-Frozen stuff, so it's okay. Anyway, About Frozen, well, I don't so much into universe, but I know some theories on that universe. So I have a little question I want to have an answer. Am I the only one who thinks this little goblins who healed Elsa are bad guys? They know how to heal her and they know how her powers work. So why does that say to seal her into the tower and not give her a lesson how to control her powers? Even just a verbal explanation would be very useful if she starts training from such a young age. So I'm sure they're up to something, but I don't exactly know what it is because I don't really want to watch Frozen right now. But listening to thoughts of someone who knows the universe better would be interesting. Okay, good luck. I'm gonna go and watch the crossover of Scooby-Doo and Courage the Cowardly Dog while I wait for the new video. And rewatch Invader Zim at like the gazillion time. Alright, so I still need to see the Scooby-Doo and Courage the Cowardly Dog special. Scooby-Doo has way too many specials, most of them unneeded, but this one should have been done a long time ago. That's a quick aside. And Invader Zim, go for it. It's very stylistic, neat show. Anyway, Frozen, you have pretty much the exact same comment as our friend Pi W said earlier about the trolls being evil. I'm pretty sure you're not the only one to think that. I feel like a while ago, some years ago, I heard some theories that the trolls might be evil, which again makes sense given the original fairy tale. The trolls were not good guys. So that actually would have made this movie way more interesting if they had the trolls be like the masterminds behind all this. It would have been cool, and hopefully we wouldn't have gotten that fixer-upper song, But yeah, yep, I agree. It would have been cool, and yes, the parents in Frozen were not smart in the least. They were told straight up, do not fear your daughter's powers and make sure she doesn't fear her powers. Love is the thing that, will help her control it. But they were like, nah, fam, we're just gonna lock her away and have everybody be scared of her, including herself. Great plan. Great. Awesome. Not listening at all to the people who just healed her. Yeah, a lot of the problems of the movie could have been solved if the parents weren't dumb. But, whatever. But yeah, thank you so much for commenting, Elia. I appreciate you. And now for the next comment. Melissa Morales. Plus, Elsa's powers are based on Skadi, I don't know, the Norse deity of winter. I wouldn't know that, because I know nothing about Norse mythology, but I will take your word on it. And if that's in the second movie, I don't think it is. Full disclosure here. I've seen all of Frozen. I haven't seen Frozen Fever. I have seen that Frozen short where they're celebrating Christmas, but it's not Christmas because they don't want to do that. The one that showed before Coco, I saw that one. Something about Olaf, I saw that. And I haven't seen Frozen 2, but I've seen a lot of reviews and many clips of Frozen 2, so I know all the spoilers and stuff. I don't want to watch Frozen 2 because I am in a self-protest against Frozen. So I know all the spoilers and stuff, but the little itsy-bitsy little details like the names of the spirits and stuff, I don't know except for the lizard. So I don't know if that water horse's name is Skadi, whatever, the Norse deity of winter. Did I say water before? I meant winter. I don't know. I don't know that horse's name. I don't know if they explain... No, they explained where Elsa's powers came from in the second movie, but I think I'm getting off track here. Anyway, I will take your word on it if that's true, if that's what her powers are. Wait, wouldn't her powers be based on the Ice Queen? Sorry, the Snow Queen from the original story who did have ice powers? Whatever. Anyway, thank you for commenting. The next comment comes from Spirit Art Writer. I personally like Frozen, although I think some parts are overrated pretty much. I love emotional and comedy parts of it. I just think there could be more of it. So like I mentioned before, me, not a fan of Frozen. But I'm glad you enjoy it, friend. I am super happy that you enjoy it. And everyone who's listening to this, everyone who commented and whatever. If you enjoy Frozen, I'm glad for you. Frozen has some good things about it. From an animation standpoint, it is really, really, really pretty to look at. Not the prettiest movie. Not to say that's not pretty. Okay, I gotta explain myself. I think the prettiest animated movie is Song of the Sea. And that's just I think that's the prettiest movie I've ever seen. You guys need to watch it. Frozen is pretty. It's just not it's not my personal best for prettiness, but it is very, very, very well done. For sure. Like, at the time, that was the best. And still looking back on it, they did some things well. But clearly Frozen 2, the animation budget got way better because the things that I saw looked really impressive. I don't know why I'm going so hard on the animation right now. Anyway, if you like Frozen, I really don't care. You can like Frozen. This is just my opinion. I just personally don't. But I'm glad you like it. And I did like some of the comedy in Frozen. I think Olaf is funny. And the emotional part, good. Yes. But thank you for commenting. You had a good comment. My reply was bad. But yay, you like Frozen. I'm happy. Anyway, next comment. Next one comes from Get It, Bestie. You seriously seem like such a sweet person. Aw, thank you. And I would love to voice my opinions. It feels good when someone appreciates you. And I do appreciate you. You're being so sweet. Thank you. So here's my thoughts on Frozen. A decent movie, but is super good. Elsa and Anna have been trapped in the palace for a super long time, and there are differences between their reactions. One is super afraid to open up to people due to Elsa hurting her. Anna in the past, and the stress and responsibilities have pressured her out. She was forced to grow up fast. One is super happy to meet and explore everything. Anna has a childish charm and just wants to be loved by someone, anyone. She and Elsa are different, but what makes this movie special is it wasn't true love's kiss that saved the day, but a sisterly and family bond that did. I honestly feel bad for both of them. Their parents were the only ones they can depend on and they passed away. The comedy in the songs was good and I liked the movie overall. Olaf, even though being just comedic relief, is such a good snowman. He was the symbol of Anna and Elsa's sisterhood. I think so overall, the movie lore can be developed just like Rapunzel's lore did in the series, Tingle the series. Anna is definitely the hero who saves the day, but Elsa isn't less. Even though she has issues, she solved it with her sister, and the freedom she finally felt when she used her powers without no one saying conceal, it is magical. Definitely an amazing movie from a kid perspective and honestly pretty good. Alright, a lot to unpack here. Thank you for the long comment. I do like long comments. I also like to respawn with long comments if you guys have noticed in the comment sections. If it's a topic I'm especially passionate about or have a lot of opinions about, I have no qualms in replying long. So, cool. Anyway, let me dissect this a bit. And with long comments like this though, I think the downside will be that I can't answer too much here because I will give my full review on Frozen after I'm done with these comments. But I'll do my best. Elsa and Anna have been trapped in the palace for a super long time. They have. One of those sisters makes sense to have been in the palace for that long. And they do have different reactions to, their situation. Elsa is like super aware of everything and that she has powers and has hurt her sister, and she knows the destructive power of her powers and stuff. So she has like the curse of knowledge as well as the curse of the power itself. So she has a lot going on that's like tormenting her, while as Anna is lonely for sure, but she's also ignorant. She's not ignorant, because she wants to be. It's because they took away her memory, so she doesn't know what's happening. So, Anna becomes Anna. Well, she becomes Rapunzel 2.0. Yes, I know Anna and Rapunzel aren't exactly the same. They have their differences, but at the base of it, you gotta think about it, guys. She is very similar to Rapunzel. She has her differences. She does. They have their differences. They're not like Anna's not a carbon copy of Rapunzel. She's just a different version. Hence the 2.0. Anyway, Anna's stress, responsibilities, pressure, grow up fast, super happy. Yes, Anna's super happy and enthusiastic about meeting people. I agree with you on that. And she is charming, yes, I will agree with that, but because she reminds me so much of Rapunzel, I can't get fully on board with Anna. Because she just seems like a copy to me. Not 100% copy, but enough of a copy. She still has her own quirks and personalities that Rapunzel doesn't have, but she still reminds me too much of Rapunzel, and I really can't get over that. She and Elsa are different. Yep. Good, I'm glad they're different. Yeah, it was also cool that it was sisterly bond that saved the day. But one thing that bothers me about... No, I'm not saying that's a bad ending. I like that it was a family bond that, undid the Eternal Winter. I think that's fine. But the thing that bothers me is, like, how people received this movie. Again, I'll get into it. But what I mean by that is that a lot of people are like, oh, this is the first Disney movie to ever have the idea that this is the first Disney movie in which a romantic couple's kiss isn't what saved the day. And this is like the first time sisters have ever been highlighted this much in a Disney movie. So awesome! Okay, but number one, I'm pretty sure Maleficent came out before Frozen. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments, but Maleficent came out first, and in Maleficent, they already did the not couple kiss being the thing that saves the day. So Maleficent did it first. There's probably another Disney movie that did it first, but that's the one that comes to mind. And second, Lilo and Stitch, anybody? Lilo and Nani are like probably the best sisters in Disney. Probably. So, but yes, I do like that it wasn't True Love's kiss at the end of Frozen. That's fine. Cool. Just acknowledge that Disney has done things like this before. That's all I'm saying. I honestly feel bad for both of them. Yep, they are super sympathetic characters, I agree. The parents were the only ones they could rely on, but the parents were also kind of incompetent, which is also hard to sympathize with. But yeah, I do feel bad for them. They had good setup. Comedy and songs was good. The comedy for me was made by Olaf. The songs were good. Most of the songs were good. You liked the movie overall. Olaf is awesome. Yes, I agree. I think overall the movie lore can be developed just like Rapunzel. So, since Tangled and Frozen do happen in the same universe, there is a chance that there could be a Frozen series. And in fact, I am willing to say that Disney's probably going to make a Frozen series. They're making a Zootopia series, and they're making a Tiana series, which is awesome. So, I'm a little surprised they didn't already try to do the Frozen series, but since Rapunzel was successful, the Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure / Tangled the series, I don't know how successful they were, but they got the story to complete, and that's an accomplishment. Not all shows can, have an ending, so. But yeah, they're in the same universe, considering Eugene and Rapunzel showed up at the beginning of Frozen. So you could make the argument that because there was a lot of lore in the Rapunzel series, that kind of fills in some gaps, I guess, in the Frozen world lore, I suppose. But I'm sure somewhere in the future, Disney is not done milking this franchise yet, so there's probably going to be a series. So look forward to that when it inevitably comes. Yes, Anna's the hero, even though she has issues, her sister. Definitely an amazing movie from a kid perspective. Yes, that's true. From a kid perspective, absolutely. It was an amazing movie. That's partially why Disney, is milking it so much, because the kids loved it that much. If I was a kid, I probably would have loved Frozen too. But considering I saw Frozen as an adult, and I already had my biases and opinions and stuff, I just cannot. Anyway, thank you, Get It Bestie, for commenting. I really appreciate you. On to the next comment. Hooded Rary. We ran into this problem before. I'm sorry. I do not know how to pronounce that second part of your name. But thank you so much for commenting. Frozen's nowhere near my favorite Disney movie, but it's definitely not bad. I just think it's kind of overrated, especially Elsa. Don't get me wrong, I was all on board with Elsa being asexual or lesbian thing, but she was pretty bland in the first movie. The whole idea of Rock Troll Dude getting rid of Anna's memories was also kind of dumb. Like, why would that be the best idea in this situation? And the fact that Iduna and Agnar either didn't notice or didn't care that they were hurting Elsa by telling her to hide away her powers was so messed up. Anna and Elsa's relationship being repaired at the end was pretty great. Hans being a twist villain sucked. It's like Disney completely forgot about all the people praising early villains like Jafar and Ursula and said, maybe a villain we don't get to know as a villain for 80% of the film will go well. And Olaf was better in the first movie than the second. I love that Disney went in a sort of different direction for this movie, but killer animation isn't enough to cover up all the bad parts of the story. And I know you said to keep on topic with Frozen and not the rest of the franchise, but this problem is really apparent in Frozen 2, which sucks because the animation and music were both taken up a notch, only to be dragged down by a bad plot and that darn retcon at the end. I only hope the inevitable Frozen 3 breaks this pattern. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. Well, thank you. I appreciate hearing your thoughts. And just like with the last one, I have to break this down because it's a long comment, but I appreciate you. Thank you. Let's see here. Yes, I agree largely with like pretty much everything you said, by the way. The whole movie is absolutely overrated. Elsa should have been the focus, which is really interesting that she wasn't the focus, but she is the more popular of the sister. It's almost like she's the more interesting one. I don't know. Anyway, again, it's not so much that she was bland in the first movie. It's just we didn't get to focus on her. That's the problem. She's the more interesting one. Like, conceptually, she is the more interesting one. But, you know, since we have to follow Rapunzel 2.0, we can't exactly give Elsa the development she could have had. One could argue they could have done both, but they didn't, so. Rock Troll Dude getting rid of Anna's memories. Yeah, you're right, that was dumb. I don't think I initially thought that until I heard some reviewers mention that, but yeah, there's no real point in getting rid of her memories. Although, I think that was like the only way for her to be healed was by getting rid of her memories. I don't remember. Either it was the healing that got rid of her memories, or they got rid of her memories along with the healing. If it was the former, then, you know, can't be helped, I guess. But in any case, yeah, Anna actually would have been better off remembering or being told. No, wait, hold on. It's okay. Okay, look. They could get rid of her memories to heal her, but then they could have just immediately told her, like, the next day that Elsa has powers, and it would have been fine. You know, prepare her for the future. Yes, the parents aren't smart. The parents aren't smart. The trolls aren't great either. Yes, which follows up to what you say next about them not noticing. They cared. I believe they cared. They're just, once again, incompetent. It was messed up. The relationship at the end being repaired, yeah, that's cool. Hans being a twist villain sucked. 100% agree with you. 1000% agree with you. I'm not opposed to twist villains, but you know, if you're gonna have it done well. Zootopia did it well, in my opinion. I hate that I was, what's the word, spoiled on who the twist villain was, but I personally think it was done the best. Of all the twist villains, I think it was done the best in Zootopia. Frozen didn't do it well, and there's reasons for that. Olaf, better in the first movie. Haven't seen the second movie, so I can't comment on him, but I do like Olaf in the first movie. Let's see. Yep, killer animation, great animation. Agree with you. Anyway, yeah. Thank you so much for commenting. I appreciate you. Alright, here comes the next comment. Simba cartoon fan has replied 4 different times, so let's do this. Frozen twist villain Prince Hans is just too boring, but why didn't the villain be Duke of Weaseltown? Duke Wesselton. Oh, I botched the joke. I'm sorry. Hans shouldn't have been the villain at all. He really should not have been the villain at all. But, you know, he is. So, you know, we can't undo that. I agree. He should not have been the villain. I don't think the Duke should have been the villain, but it definitely shouldn't have been Hans. My theory for Frozen: if Elsa has ice powers from Skadi, the Norse deity of winter, you know what? Since you're the second person to say that, maybe it's true. So would that mean that Elsa is adopted by humans because she is part frost giants? Maybe. But I am of the assumption that she's not adopted. I guess though I suppose there's room for, you know, Disney to say, you know what, yes, she is. Anyway, Frozen is just too cheesy for my taste. Let It Go is overrated. I don't know if I've ever considered Frozen as cheesy, but I actually like Let It Go. It's something I do like. So, I understand why people think it's overrated, but I personally like it. I see people seeing that Tangled and Frozen are connected. Like they say that Anna and Elsa's parents went on a ship to go to Rapunzel and Eugene's wedding. Yes, Tangled and Frozen do seem to happen in the same universe, considering, once again, Rapunzel and Eugene were walking into the castle before the coronation. So, I mean, that wasn't just like a cute little, nod like Pixar movies like to do by having little trinkets and stuff in the background. This is legitimately the characters there walking in there. So I'm 99.99% sure that it is happening in the same world. So yes to that. I've heard the theory that the parents were going to Eugene and Rapunzel's wedding, but I don't really have proof of that. It's not that it's not right, but I don't personally subscribe to that. They could have been heading anywhere, but if people want to believe that, it's fine. It's not hurting anything, and it could be true. Who knows? Thanks for commenting. The next comment comes from Sam. My thoughts of Frozen are, I really liked the songs, but there was more songs in the movie and it was really emotional. I apologize so much, but I am actually having a hard time telling your tone in this comment. When you use the word but like that, it makes it seem like you have a contradictory statement to say. But it seems like you really liked it. So, and I'm glad. Once again, I'm glad. For the people out there who like Frozen, I am happy for you. I'm glad you like it. It's a good movie. I like most of the songs, some of the songs, half the songs. I have to think about that, but I do like some of the songs in the movie. And you could say it was emotional. I can't say I felt emotional, but I could see where it would be emotional for people. And last but not least, this person. I don't know how to read that name. Oh, I am sorry. This person. I can't even try to pronounce it because I don't know how to say those letters. So I'm really sorry. Let it go, let it go. I like all the songs in Frozen, yo. I like Frozen. I mean, no, I don't like Frozen. I like Let It Go. I like the Let It Go song. Let It Go is my favorite song in the movie. Anyway, thanks for leaving your comment and allowing me to sing very badly. It's fine. But thank you. I do appreciate it. And that's all the comments. Thank you everyone who submitted a comment and allowed me to reply to them in this video. You are all awesome, and I hope my replies were satisfactory. By the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, please give it a like to help spread it to other people on this site. Thank you! And now, I'll formally give you my own review of Frozen. I sort of said a lot of my piece replying to the comments, but I'll solidify my opinion here. I think that from a purely objective standpoint, Frozen is a good movie. It's not great, not fantastic, just good. And on a bad day, it's just okay. See, I didn't see Frozen until maybe a year or two or so after it had come out. And miraculously, except for the Hans reveal, I didn't know anything about the movie. I even managed to avoid... Wait, sorry, quick aside. I just remembered right now how I found out that Hans was the twist villain. I was in my animation class, and there was we had a lot of free time in my animation class. So I think we were having a Disney day or something, or whatever. There was some of my classmates who were looking up Disney stuff, Disney trailers, or maybe they're looking at Honest trailers, I don't know, but it got revealed that Hans was the twist villain, and I was like, no! I didn't want to know that! I didn't say that out loud, because I don't do that, but, that's how I found out. It was in the middle of my animation class in college. So, yeah, that's how I found out. And anyway, except for the Hans reveal, I didn't know anything about the movie. I even managed to avoid hearing Let It Go until I sat down to watch it. Can you believe it? Someone couldn't actually believe that I avoided hearing Let It Go for 1 or 2 years. It was everywhere in the media, and I was like a media ninja. I completely avoided it. So, however, since a year had gone by, year or two, the hype of Frozen was in full swing, and I was hearing just how amazing this movie was. Upon hearing such praise, I was immediately skeptical, but I tried to keep expectations low. I didn't want any kind of bias in my mind, and I wanted to treat the movie fairly. So, after watching it, here were my thoughts. It had very pretty visuals. Olaf was the best part of the movie since he made me chuckle quite a few times. However, Olaf has a horrible design. That's just my opinion though. He makes up for it by being funny. Hans was a terrible twist villain. Anna is just Rapunzel 2.0, which I said earlier. And Elsa has a pretty design. She is, like, in my opinion, probably the prettiest of the Disney princesses. She has cool powers, but the execution of her character just kind of missed the mark for me. The songs were mostly nice. Let It Go is actually my favorite song in Frozen. Again, because I wasn't bombarded with it, I didn't grow the seething hatred for it that many others did. And I also like Do You Want to Build a Snowman? For the first time in forever would be near the top of my list if the word gassy wasn't in it. This is a personal thing, but I dislike songs adding gassy or other bodily functions into songs. For example, the original Lion King, the 1994 one, you know, the one that's the best movie ever, in their song Hakuna Matata, they avoided saying, the bodily function word. Whereas in the 2020 remake of Lion King, their version of Hakuna Matata said the gross word out loud, and thus I respect that version a lot less. The joke was better when they didn't say the word out loud. Love is an Open Door is fine. Frozen Heart is 1000% forgettable, and Fixer Upper is also forgettable. Those are my thoughts after seeing it for the first time. A good movie, but not great. But everything changed once the Fire Nation attacked. As time went on, the media went gaga over Frozen, and my annoyance started to rise. I largely ignored it though. It wasn't until someone had the audacity to say that Frozen was the next Lion King that I figuratively snapped. The Lion King is my favorite movie of all time and is darn near perfect in my eyes. So for someone to say that these two movies match in quality, that went way too far in my mind. I know it's a petty thing to admit, but I really started to dislike Frozen after that. And I also started to notice more of its flaws. I don't remember which came first, me reading the original fairy tale of the Snow Queen or me watching Frozen, but having read the original fairy tale at a public library, I was disappointed that Disney didn't have a more faithful adaptation. And once again, yes, Disney does Disney-fy fairy tales and spin them to make them more cheerful and such, but Frozen is really far from the source material, more than normal for Disney, methinks. For those who've never read or watched the faithful adaptation of The Snow Queen, here's the cliff notes, from what I can remember of it. There are these two kids named Kai and Gerda who were the best of friends who played together a lot, and they meant the world to each other. Meanwhile, there are some demons/trolls or whatever hanging out in the sky or something, and they manage to get a hold of this magic mirror. When you look into the mirror, you see the ugliest version of whatever is reflected. Somehow, this mirror falls and shatters, and one of the fragments gets into Kai's eyes and heart, thus giving him a frozen heart. Kai then sees the world as ugly and repulsive and evil. He can't even stand to see his friend Gerda. So, Kai ends up running away and getting kidnapped? Adopted? Picked up by the Snow Queen, whom he manages to see as beautiful despite the mirror fragment in his eye. The Snow Queen takes him for herself and refuses to let him leave her side. Gerda then goes on a perilous adventure that spans years to find Kai and rescue him from the Snow Queen. She runs into colorful characters along the way and shenanigans ensue, but she eventually manages to reach Kai. Both of them are adults now, by the way. Kai, by this point, is almost dead as his heart and body were freezing over. I don't remember if it's the presence of the Snow Queen that did that to him, or if it was the mirror shard, but the point is he's almost dead. It is only when Gerda kisses him that her love melts the cold away and also manages to destroy the mirror fragments in his heart and eyes. Because of reasons, they are able to leave the Snow Queen's domain and then go home to live happily ever after. Throughout the production process, Disney originally had Frozen be closer to the Snow Queen story. I don't remember if Anna and Elsa were originally sisters or not, but Elsa was originally going to be the villain, which makes sense given the fairy tale. The trolls were also pretty malevolent and not kind as depicted in the movie. At the very least, the trolls in the story were incompetent, and to that I say, the movie got that part actually pretty correct. But for the wrong reasons. I heard that it wasn't until Let It Go got produced that the creators loved the song so much that they didn't want the song to be associated with a villain, and so the story was rewritten for Elsa to be a good guy. That is a bit disappointing, but they still could have made her an antagonist without making her a villain. But no, we gotta write in a completely different villain, even though Elsa's drama would have been enough to drive the plot. Enter Hans, the twist villain that was never supposed to be. I'm not saying he couldn't have worked as a villain, I'm saying he just didn't. Of all of Disney's twist villains, Hans felt the least genuine. Remember that sincere and sweet look that Hans gave to Anna at the beginning of the movie? You know, the look he gave when no one was looking at him, not even Anna. He was under the boat and looking at Anna. That would have been a good time to foreshadow something with him. But no, if he had evil intentions to begin with, no one smiles that sweetly to themselves. It makes no sense. Either don't show his reaction there, or foreshadow something. But don't do what they did. It's almost like he was planned to be a good guy, but at last minute they changed their minds or something. And for all of you out there about to tell me that animated movies take a long time to make and that it would have been impossible for them to make an abrupt and unplanned change like that, I say, true. That's true. But there's a chance that they were a bit lazy with it. Even before animating, they probably decided to change course and make Hans the villain, and thus they had time to plan his reveal a bit better. But I can totally see some storyboard artists who plan scenes such as Hans smiling sweetly and genuinely to himself, and the lead animators thinking that it would be fine to fully animate that even though it doesn't make sense. And I'm saying that Hans was originally in the movie as a good guy, and they kept in some of the scenes that would have been animated had he still been a good guy, instead of, replacing them. I don't know, maybe they didn't want to re-storyboard so much of the movie and so they left that in. I can only speculate. In any case, Elsa should have been the villain, or the antagonist, not Hans. I don't know why Disney was so afraid of people liking her as a villain. It's not like they hadn't made likable villains before. Jafar, Ursula, Scar, Maleficent, Dr. Facilier, the freaking Sanderson sisters. I'm pretty sure the movie would have been better received by the half that hates it if you had just gone with your original plans. As for those out there who like Elsa because she has relatable problems of fear, isolation, and other insecurities and issues, you have a valid opinion. In fact, Elsa is the more interesting sister, and yet we follow Rapunzel 2.0 for some reason. And once again, Anna has some differences than Rapunzel, but come on. The wide-eyed girl who was stuck and isolated from society for so many years and is just so optimistic and curious about people and new experiences, their quirks are different, but the base is so very similar. Anna didn't even have to be locked up, but the movie locked her up anyway. Her isolation isn't even justified. It really makes no sense. Why was Anna locked up? But Elsa, on the other hand, if the writers insist on making her a good guy, then we should have been following her. Her character arc is so much more relatable and entertaining, especially if it was developed more. And she has powers! She's more interesting to look at, and her struggle is just more engaging. I know I said this video wasn't about Frozen 2, but I'd just like to say that while I don't care for the sequel, and that I don't want to care because I don't want to see it, I do at least appreciate that the more interesting sister gets more screen time. That is all. And you want to know the funny thing? Once Upon a Time, the show made by Disney that aired on the CW that was basically a live-action Kingdom Hearts, but without the Keyblade wielders, Mickey Mouse and Friends, and the Final Fantasy crew, had a season that focused on Frozen. I hated the costume design for the Frozen characters. Seriously, Elsa's costume looked like she got it at a party city during Halloween. But I love what they did with the story. Once Upon a Time actually adapted the story of the Snow Queen using the characters from Frozen better than the original Frozen did. Elsa still wasn't the villain, but they made her the focus, which she should have always been, while as a good guy. And they also actually had a Snow Queen antagonist, so I'm not gonna spoil too much of the story, but Once Upon a Time handled Frozen better than Frozen did. If you don't watch Once Upon a Time or have no desire, if you like Frozen, I implore you, just check out that season just to see how they compare. And if you don't like Frozen, I think you should check it out to see how it compares. Once Upon a Time is a good show though. The last season, really unnecessary, but one of my favorite characters of all time is in this, so have at you. Have at you, I guess. So all of that is to say that while Frozen is objectively good, I cannot stand it due to my raging disappointment in it not reaching its potential, and because of how it doesn't deserve the hype. As good as Lion King. The nerve. And if you're out there and you love Frozen, then great. I'm happy that you enjoy it. You are not alone. Continue to enjoy it. These are just my opinions. Having said all of that, when I'm disappointed in how a story goes, I'm sometimes inspired to just rewrite the whole thing. Which I did back in 2016, and I'll share it here. So I hope you enjoy my version of Frozen. Okay, so I know this is sudden, but I'll have to leave you guys with a cliffhanger here. I had a feeling this video would be long, but it got to be a bit too long. So, the next video, you'll get the rewrite, okay? And when it's ready, I'll link it here. Until then, thanks for chatting with me. That's all there is. There isn't any more.